And the #1 worst country for LGBT people is... Today we're getting a little political as we discuss LGBT discrimination
and acceptance around the world.
We're breaking down the best and worst places to exist if you are part of the alphabet mafia.
Hello all you rebels and sinners, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sheldon. Welcome to Lavender Lingo. Today we're going to start by talking about the influence of English colonialism on homosexuality bans worldwide.
No, we're not. That sounds like a test or something.
No, it's really interesting. Think about it. Out of the 71 countries that currently have homosexuality bans, over half of them were former British colonies. So.
I feel like that's all you need to say. Let's just jump into the reason why you all came here, which is to hear the 5 worst places to exist if you are LGBTQ. Is that okay?
Let's get started. While people may experience different outcomes based on their situation in any of these given places, this is just the general gist of what it's like to be LGBT based on what's written in their legislation.
And while these countries aren't exactly listed like this is the absolute worst, we are going to give you the top 5 and we are going to list them backwards based on how we feel the best of the worst all the way to what we consider to be the worst of the worst. So
first on our list is Yemen. Homosexuality is illegal in Yemen and is punishable by death for married men. Punishment via community members is also very common, and this vigilante justice typically ends in death for the person being persecuted.
Next up is Uganda. In 2023, Uganda's parliament outlawed homosexuality in the Anti-Homosexuality Act, making homosexuality punishable by life in prison and possibly even death.
The severity of the punishment is typically determined by the type of sex act performed and the number of occurrences. So if people are repeat offenders, they're more likely to get life in prison or capital punishment.
Are you a repeat offender?
Next on our list is Saudi Arabia, where homosexuality and gender nonconformity are widely seen as indecent and inappropriate. Penalties for this often include capital punishment, life imprisonment, fines, flogging, and even deportation. No, I shouldn't say even deportation as if that's the worst.
Oh, that was funny. Even though it's not funny at all.
Right. The use of beatings and torture are commonly used during investigations, and community violence against members of the LGBT community is rampant.
I'm going to speak freely here, but I would assume that this applies more than just to LGBT people. It probably also applies to anybody who breaks their law. Next up is Brunei. In 2019, Brunei's government enacted laws that punish same-sex sexual relations with the death penalty, though paused through a moratorium.
A moratorium is a temporary suspension of a law, for anybody who wanted to know that.
Brunei remains one of the most dangerous countries for LGBT people.
And finally, the absolute worst place to exist if you are a member of the alphabet mafia is Iran. Same-sex sexual activity is illegal in Iran and is currently punishable by death. Iran is also the only country in the world that's known to federally execute LGBT people. In my research, I found that their penal code is pretty complicated when it comes to how these punishments are delivered, and there's a lot of different requirements based on whether or not the person is Muslim or whether or not they're married. But for a married man committing sodomy, it is the death penalty.
Well, that list is incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Our heart goes out to all the people who have to face those countries and face those laws every single day.
Now we can move on to something a little bit more happy as we discuss the best places in the world to exist if you are a member of the alphabet mafia.
Starting with number 5, which is
Canada!
By far the most progressive in terms of LGBT rights in North America. Canada legalized same-sex sexual activity in 1969, and they created protections for LGBT discrimination in 1995, and then in 2005 became the 4th country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage.
And the first in the Americas.
And in 2022, Canada banned, thankfully, conversion therapy, again becoming one of the first countries to do so.
Next on our list is Sweden.
Sverige.
Sweden has a long history of LGBT.
Guess what?
What? We're going to Sweden.
We're going to Sweden.
In April.
In April. And Italy. And possibly Switzerland.
Sweden has a long history of LGBT acceptance, with homosexuality being legalized in 1944. They legalized same-sex marriage in 2009 and same-sex adoption in 2003. They ensure protection from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender rights, and have been a world leader in protections for transgender individuals.
And next we have Norway. Norway passed one of the first anti-discrimination laws explicitly addressing sexual orientations in 1981. In that time, Norway legalized same-sex marriage, same-sex adoption, and even assisted lesbians with artificial insemination.
What? sorry. I don't know why. It was just when you said assisted lesbians. Okay, one more time.
Okay. Norway has legalized same-sex marriage, same-sex adoption, has assisted lesbian couples with artificial insemination, and then also allows for self-determination of one's own gender identity. And of course, on January 1st of this year, 2024, Norway became another country to make conversion therapy illegal.
Next on our list is the Netherlands. Same-sex sexual activity was legalized in the Netherlands in 1811, and in 2001, the Netherlands became the first country in the world ever to legalize same-sex marriage.
Woo!
They provide LGBT citizens with protection from discrimination, afford them gender-affirming care, allow for adoption, and even provide people with PrEP and other sexual health services.
And our top pick, the best country for LGBT people, is Iceland. Same-sex sexual activity has been legal in Iceland since 1940. Same-sex marriage has been legalized since 2010. LGBT people are given the right to federal protection for discrimination, including conversion therapy that was outlawed in 2023, and Iceland gives trans and non-binary individuals the right to self-determination and gender-affirming care. What do you think? Did your favorite country, or least favorite country, make the list?
Comment below and let us know where it falls.
If not, now we're going to talk about some specific countries around the globe that we just wanted to give specific call-outs to.
First up is Russia. In late 2023, the Russian Supreme Court ruled the LGBT movement an extremist organization, making it illegal to show any sort of association with or support of the international LGBT movement.
The country has always generally had a negative view of homosexuality, and the country does not provide any sort of protection or recognition of it.
Chechnya specifically conducts anti-LGBT purges, detaining and torturing people suspected of being gay in concentration camps. Punishment can even go as far as death.
Next, we want to talk about Ireland.
Ireland.
The motherland.
The motherland.
The motherland.
The motherland.
Sorry, accents are terrible.
Yeah, my bad.
Ireland went from a predominantly homophobic nation to one of Europe's most progressive in terms of LGBT rights in a single generation.
Ireland provides protection from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. They also legalized same-sex marriage in 2015 and allow for self-declaration of gender identity. Next up is the US of A. The US, far from the progressive attitudes of Northern Europe, falls somewhere in the middle of the pack when it comes to LGBT rights. The US decriminalized homosexuality between the years of 1961 and 2003. In 2004, Massachusetts became the first state in the nation to legalize same-sex marriage, with national legalization occurring in 2015.
Protections and attitudes towards the LGBT community vary greatly depending on the region, with very few federal protections.
In many cases, it's left up to the state to provide protection from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity.
And the final country we want to call out is Nigeria, which could have been an alternative for the worst countries. But Nigeria continuously ranks as one of the worst countries for LGBT rights. Same-sex relations between men are illegal, with a maximum of 16 years in prison as punishment, as outlined by the penal code for the southern provinces.
The northern provinces are majority Muslim and adhere to Sharia law. Here, same-sex activity is punishable by 100 lashes and 1 year imprisonment. But if you're Muslim and married, it's punishable by death by stoning.
Remember that no matter how far in the fight we have come, there is still so far to go.
And while this is a global problem, there are still many injustices that the LGBT community faces here at home, which is why it's important to remember to get out and vote.
And not just at the big elections, but remember, local elections can make a big difference.
Next time on Lavender Lingo, we'll be discussing gay marriage and sharing all of our tips on how to maintain a healthy relationship as an LGBT couple.
See you later, alligator. Bye.